What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Sideline Summit. I'm Antonio Perez, joined as always by Danny Cole, DC UPenn's finest, Chris Coacher, CB Coacher Boy. We got another great episode for you guys today. Of course, we still have to recap Sunday Night Football, Eagles, Rams, Monday Night Football, Chargers, Ravens. And then we're going to spice it up a little bit this week. Instead of doing our normal previews for the upcoming week, we're going to start a tier ranking. This week, we're going to do the AFC. Next week, we're going to do the NFC. And really just break things down between who's a contender for the Super Bowl and who's a contender for Travis Hunter. And of course, before we get into any of that, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, if you're listening on audio platforms, leave a like, 5-star review, download if you really like the episode, and comment if you can. But of course, we always got to get started with summits and plummets.
Yeah, I'll kick it off. My summit, we had our siblings / family Thanksgiving today. So ate some good food.
Wait, you say your sibling / what?
Like family, Thanksgiving today.
Isn't that in 2 days though?
Yeah, everyone goes to their significant other house. I guess it's all everyone does go to their girlfriend's house. I could say that probably.
Must be nice.
Or fiance, my sister. So yeah.
Yeah, in their case, yeah.
Yeah, and then
it's got to be Dobbins, no?
Nah. I like Dobbins. It's okay.
No, I was just saying about the bet in general. It's like you're not mad at him.
I mean, it's not. I mean, it's whatever. It doesn't. It's. That's a rough one.
Ain't his fault.
You know what? My plummet is that we're playing football, but I'm so close to being able to just go full, but I'm not able to, and it's just like so frustrating.
And the weather conditions won't even let you try it, sadly.
Yeah.
But it's okay. We're still playing football, which is one of God's greatest gifts.
Salute.
Hell yeah. Well, we can swing it to Chris.
My summit. I think I'm gonna do all summits. It's Thanksgiving week, so I'm happy my family's here. So it's exciting. My first time hosting Thanksgiving at my house, so this is gonna be very, very cool. Today was my last day of work for until next Monday, so that's cool. I really have nothing bad right now. No plummets.
5-day weekend.
The Ravens won.
Kind of correct.
Yeah, I'm all GGs. I'm all good. So yeah, those are all three of my summits.
Your life is going too well. I'm betting on you. I'm betting you're over. I'm betting you're over on smiles next week.
I'm back on Monday. We have our first playoff game. So if it goes bad, the under might hit.
All I'm saying, taking your 3.5 threes over. Then we'll see how good of a week you're having. I did want to preface, this is coming out a day earlier for obvious reasons. Please don't be watching or listening to sports podcasts on Thanksgiving. Please go be with your family.
Now listen to this, please, on Thanksgiving.
Okay.
When the Giants are supposed to be playing Cowboys,
there we go.
Listen to this instead.
Yeah, you're gonna want to watch
TV instead.
You want to watch something while you're eating, and why would you ever put on the Cowboys and Giants? You could just put on us. But the episode will be there, and it will be there a day early for those who just simply will not be on YouTube or a podcast platform on Thanksgiving, like a normal person. Besides me, I'm getting my plate, and I am watching YouTube because I'm that cracked. I did also want to preface, we still are doing our highs and locks at the end of the episode. Don't think we won't. It's got to happen. I would say my summit this week is the summit is the Celtics just got their cheat code back. They were the best team in the NBA without Kristaps Porzingis. They get them back, and of course they're even better. So that's great. My plummet is neither of my GOATs are going to win MVP, and it's because that fat Serbian won't go away, and Lamar Jackson won't go away either. Tatum's just at a clear, like Jokic is just a flat out better basketball player than him. There's no argument. Like like Tatum has a good argument in the fact that like he's playing well and he's best player, best team, instead of the last couple of years where it's like, oh, he's just the best player on the best team. He's just not playing at that level. He's playing at a great level. It's just Jokic isn't human, folks are saying. And then Saquon, I don't even think it's that like Lamar is too good. It's that he's playing well enough for a quarterback. No, let me not say well enough. That makes it sound like he's not playing. He's playing phenomenal quarterback ball. Like he's playing like the best quarterback in the league right now. But it's just Saquon's a running back, so he just has to do that much more to make up the gap. And if Lamar Jackson's not going to have a bad performance anytime soon, or he's not playing the Steelers for the next 5 weeks, you know, it's going to be tough. And I don't know if this is somewhere to plummet, really. The game me and Dan, we're going to Eagles Steelers, of course. Got to make it happen. It might get moved to Monday.
Yeah, Chris, did we tell you that we got tickets to that?
Yeah.
No.
Yes. Yeah, so me and Danny got our tickets. Pretty hefty price, but, you know, anything to see the fellas.
Chris, the get-in price to this game, so we sniped tickets. We got tickets for $335. That's the get-in price?
Damn.
A piece, right? The get-in price right now is $410.
Damn. And yeah, we got resale tickets. Like, so that was pretty clutch.
Y'all got some resale tickets like I sell to other people. Like I don't put them at that crazy of a price so people can get them and I actually sell them and I just look crazy. That's
no.
$335 pretty crazy, but
I mean, like, crazy.
But
for
even
where we're sitting, right? Like,
yeah, we up there.
Oh,
I mean, we up there. But still, I'm gonna be honest. There's not really a bad seat in the link, in my opinion. I've sat in everywhere in that stadium for the most part. I enjoy it. And Steelers Eagles is always going to be expensive. But if that gets flexed to Monday, then, I mean, nothing will really change. We'd probably either record after the game or we'll just record and then whatever it may be. But that's something going on, which is pretty cool. But, you know, speaking of getting flexed to Monday night, we can talk about on every single episode, you will see me wearing some kind of hat, whether it's a snapback, whether it's a dad style hat. I always got to have something to complete the outfit. And the only place where I get my hats is lids.com. Lids.com has so many different brands. And of course, they have a bunch of different styles. Like I just said, it could be dad hat, snapback. It could be fitted. It could be Velcro back. Whatever you want, they got it. And with the NFL season coming up, I know you're going to want to rock and represent your favorite squad. Me personally, I'm a big Eagles guy, and I love this 47 brand throwback hat that I got from lids.com. Or if you're more of a snapback guy, I also got this NBA champions Boston Celtics new era cap from lids.com as well. If you like either of those hats and you feel like you want one to represent your squad, click the link in the description below. Whether it's new era or 47, both links will take you right to lids.com. And the best thing about Lids, they always have some type of deal going on their website. So make sure you click that link and check out any deals they got going on at lids.com. Well, I guess we'd have to start with the Sunday game. We'll get to the Monday game in a second. Sunday Night Football, Eagles take down the Rams in pretty convincing fashion. Jalen Hurts throws for a touchdown. Saquon runs for 2, both of them being 70-plus yards. Eagles franchise record, 255 rushing yards, 302 yards from scrimmage. He is currently the rushing king, and he is outpacing Adrian Peterson through 12 weeks. Now, mind you, Adrian Peterson through 12 weeks of football had 1,200 yards. He finished with 2,095 or 97. So through 13, 14, 15, 16, I guess 17. So through 5 weeks, he was averaging like 200 yards a game for, you know, roughly. I don't know if Saquon's going to do that, and he does have an extra game. But what do you guys think of this one? Cooper DeJean, Quinion Mitchell easily had their biggest test of the year against Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp. And then the Eagles offense, formula was simple. What do you guys think of the game?
It seemed like the Eagles D-line is starting to figure something out. And that makes their cornerbacks look even better, is what I'll say. I'm not saying the cornerbacks aren't playing well. The cornerbacks are playing awesome. But it does help when your D-line is getting pressure now. Like Josh Sweat looked like he was...
He looks so back.
Yeah,
He
but
does
the
look back.
first 6, 7, 8 weeks of the season, he looked gone.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. And we thought the jersey number is what did it.
it did. He
It
probably,
did. 19 is just the worst of all time.
but 17, a guy like that, pretty solid number.
Yeah, Kobe Dean's that guy.
Yeah.
Chris, what'd you think of the game?
Well, for one, I have to put some more respect on Puka Nakua's name. He's really good. that's what I took away from him. He's really good. I myself have to put more respect in his name because I have not been. But the Eagles, just a better team, winning the game. That's what I've seen. And I think what you said is really what stuck out to me the most. Is keeping it simple. You don't have to make it difficult. You know who your guys are. You give them the ball, win the game. It's pretty simple. And I like the Eagles when every team like that, but especially a team like that has so many options. I like when they keep it more simple. Now you don't have Devontae Smith in the mix, which is makes it a little easier to feed everybody. But I think that's the formula for them, keeping it as simple as they did in this game.
Yeah, I would say AJ Brown is actually in the top 10 of receiving yards again on only 39 catches this year and 3 less games than everybody else. So it shows that when he does play, he's making the absolute most of his touches, and that's why I believe he is, a stamped top 5 receiver in this game, and in my opinion, top 3 receiver in football, alongside the LSU boys in Chase and Jefferson. And with Saquon, man, it's just
one of one.
He is one of those guys, like Adrian Peterson, where it's like you could bottle him up 5 yards a pop all day. He's gonna break you at some point. The only game recently where he just hasn't popped off, I believe, was the Cowboys, where I think he only got 13 carries, if I'm not mistaken, and then the Browns, who he only got 17 carries. They did a respectable job. But both of those games, they didn't let him get the 20 plus. Any game where he's gotten a 20 plus, he's made an explosive play on the ground, whether it went for a touchdown or just a flat out explosive play. Saquon is one of those guys, one of the most conditioned running backs in the league, to go along with what I believe, when he was coming out of college, the most gifted running back skill set of all time, to be that strong and to be that fast and quick. It's most guys can't hang with that when it comes to the fourth quarter. And you kind of saw it literally first play of the half. He breaks a long one, and then to really put the Rams down, he's patient. He's shuffling behind his line, sees a hole, and he hits that hole faster than somebody who has like a 10-yard head start of acceleration. And he just really gets back. So good game from them. Hurts a turnover.
Good, historic
again. Yeah, yeah. Good is definitely putting it lightly. Yeah, he had the greatest Eagles running back game of all time.
No, I think that might be considered the best Eagles game of all time.
Nick Foles threw for 7 touchdowns.
As a skill player, I'm saying best skill player.
Pretty sick. Yeah, if we're talking rushing, receiving them, yeah. But he had 302 yards from scrimmage, and then Jalen Hurts. The big talk after the game was pretty nice. It was like he knows, being a game manager is okay. And, Jalen Hurts has the special ability to run, one of the best deep balls in the NFL, has grown throwing over the middle. He really is a star quarterback. But you're down Devontae Smith, and you have arguably the best football player in the world this year behind you. Why bother? Why force anything? And he still made some pretty sick throws. I like the throw to AJ in the end zone. That was really nice. He had some good plays on the ground as well. So they're starting to really incorporate his legs back into the offense, which I really like. The more they do it, the more it's just going to open up free looks for Saquon, and eventually it's going to open up better running lanes for Jalen Hurts. So I have to agree with Danny on the D-line. Milton Williams, absolute beast. Lost BG for the season. Absolute crusher. That's like similar to losing Jason Peters during the Super Bowl run. It's just like, how do you replace that guy? Well, next man up was the mentality of the 2017 team. They got to bring the same juice 2024.
I saw a funny thing. It said, who should the Eagles bring in? A guy on the list that said Jason Pierre-Paul.
What year is it? Come on, man. That's crazy. I don't think we need to bring in anybody.
They're better off bringing the Ndamukong Suh, bro.
Chill. He's a Philly legend. No, like Jalen Hunt is just going to have to step up a little bit. Nolan Smith is going to have to be a little bit more productive than he's been. Josh Sweat, I'm not really worried about him. He's been doing his thing. Or we could roll out some fatter packages like Milton Williams, Carter, and Davis, which is one of my favorite fronts because Milton Williams one-on-one with anybody is just absolutely ridiculous because Carter and Davis are going to get double teamed. Probably the least called, like if you're listening to a broadcast, you probably won't hear Carter and Davis's name all day, but you'd be a fool to not know the impact that they have on the game. So,
yeah. How about NSJ?
NSJ.
Nolan Smith Jr. Someone referred to him as that.
No one, boy. No, we call him Nolan Smith.
No, someone referred to him as that, and I was like, "Who is NSJ?" So
yeah, bro, we're not calling him that. That sounds like some like I don't know what they're called. Something grams of like JSN.
It's JSN almost.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, Nolan Smith is gonna have to step up. Obviously, the linebackers have been playing great. I'm gonna walk Zach Bond's extension to his face at this rate if Howie doesn't get on that. And then Isaiah Rodgers. I don't want to say like bad performance because that is Puka Nacua, but that was tough. But DeJean, Mitchell, the safeties, I have no complaints.
Let it be said, Saquon Barkley is the best running back in the NFL. He's better than Christian McCaffrey. He's better than Derrick Henry.
Yeah, Derrick Henry had 24 hours to respond, and he didn't. So
yeah, I mean, he
still got a bye week to go.
He had a great game.
Yeah, Henry had a great game as well. And then Saquon had a story.
But he responded.
But speaking of Henry,
Saquon's just simply better.
I want to say it's that simple, but those are the top two guys for sure. And shout out Josh Jacobs. But speaking of Henry, we can move on to Ravens Chargers. I had the floor for like the last 5 minutes, so I want to give Chris the floor. What'd you see from your guys? This could have easily been a skid, after losing a tough one to Pittsburgh, but you guys go on the road, get a win. What's the vibes like in Baltimore?
I think it was just a good overall gameplay by the whole team. All three phases, I think, played pretty well. It was good to see Justin Tucker make some kicks. Lamar put the ball down the field very well. I think last week he didn't put the ball down the field very well. He missed a couple of passes to Deontay Johnson. I think this week he looks way better. Justice Hill sighting, of course. Y'all know I love Justice Hill. And every time Justice Hill is in the game, he does something good. And he's been doing great in the pass block game too. So I think it was, like I said, just an overall team effort. I think the defense looked better than it actually was, if that sounds crazy. But I think it was a lot of misassignments, a lot of drops as well. But I think the defense played better overall. I like what I've seen out of Malik Harrison. I'm very tough on Malik Harrison. I think I have not seen him play a lot of good football. And I think this was one of his better games, just as far as flying around the field and being there to make plays while Roquan was out. So, like I said, I think it was just a good game overall. I liked what I seen from everybody. I like the patience too. Down 10, I don't think they panicked. I think they still played a very solid game. I think they still tried to get everyone involved. Rashad Bateman making big. It's like everybody made a big play, and then we had the best player on the field. I think this is kind of what it boiled down to at the end of the day. Big plays were made, and then our player Lamar Jackson just ended up being the best guy at times when we needed him to, whether it be third down, whether it be that running touchdown. He was just on time, and I think that was what was important the most. And then we have Derrick Henry to salt games away now, so that's what makes it a lot better. So I think it's a good game. A needed win as well against a pretty good Chargers team. The Harbaugh. So I think that was a really good win going into what's about to be a rough game next week and a rough schedule at the end of the way, but definitely a rough game starting next week.
Yeah. Danny, I want to ask you, I think the answer is relatively obvious on the defensive end. But where do you think the Chargers went wrong in this one? Because they walked down, score first drive. It's like, oh man, they're about to give the Ravens hell. They scored 9 more points the rest of the way. Or they had a garbage time touchdown. But they only end up with 23 after what seems like they were going to put Ravens in hell all night.
Yeah, I think they just starts with J.K. Dobbins getting hurt. It looked like their run game got evaporated. Going down at half didn't hurt. Being down at half, with the Ravens getting a last second touchdown pretty much. The Ravens seem to have an answer. to every Chargers little blow that they were taking. And I think Herbert is closer to being the third best quarterback than he is to being the seventh best quarterback in the NFL. So,
yeah, I would say I agree.
Yeah, I think Herbert's definitely closer to Josh Allen than he is to Matthew Stafford, and that says a lot because Matthew Stafford's very good in his own realm. But yeah, I do think that the Chargers are fine. They do have the Chiefs coming up. They do have a tough remaining schedule. But look, it's a division rival. They could always win that game. It feels like they're a piece away. It feels that they go get a T. Higgins and then draft like Luther Burden, or like they will get like two guys.
I don't think they need two.
They don't need two, but if they go get one or like one and a solid guy, or like, they would be scary. Because if they get T, they could go take a offensive lineman, they could take a defensive lineman, they could take a corner.
Interior line is very much needed. I'd like to see them take a guard.
You're not taking a guard,
especially well, if they have a late pick, I mean, like a guard would be fine.
Yeah, that'd be okay.
I think so, but yeah, we'll see on that one. Yeah, I also believe the Chargers are going to be okay. It was a tough one last night. I feel like
they're a piece away, dude. It feels so close.
They are me and Quentin Johnston magically swapping hands from being okay, because he's such a dynamic player with the ball in his hands. That's the worst wide receiver performance I've ever seen in my life.
Nah, dude, there's been worse. Kadarius Toney's had worse games.
No, he has not.
Quentin Johnston's had worse games himself.
No, he has not. No, he has not had a worse game than this one. He might have had worse moments. This was a absolutely atrocious game.
He had 5 drops last year in a game.
Yeah, he had 3 that would have been first downs. We had 1 that would have been a touchdown. He would have had lead blocking for him. With Quentin's speed, he would have been gone. This was absolutely the worst game I've ever seen by a wide receiver. It was truly pathetic.
You had a good game though. Eagles legend Jalen Reagor.
No, he didn't. He's also it is front office malpractice that you have those two on your team.
Yeah, he shouldn't be on a team, but he did have a nice catch on second down.
He also had a drop. A wide open drop.
Hey, getting Jalen Reagor to run one good rep on the
having him on your football team is malpractice in the NFL. He is a horrible football player. And so is Quentin Johnston. So I think another thing is, I'm not even mad at this Greg Roman offense. I do really like the run heavy stuff. I don't think the route concepts are bad. If anything, they've gotten better throughout the year. I think Greg Roman has really grown to his quarterback strengths, which is, for the most part, what he does. It's just a matter of, every offense he finds himself in, the receivers are crap. But he played to Lamar's strength. He's played to Kaepernick's strengths, and now Herbert's strength. And Herbert's grown as a runner immensely. So, but they need to scheme, as crazy, I guess, as it may be, as targeted as he is. Ladd McConkey just needs the ball more. Like, these other dudes are not good enough. Like, and Ladd is a great winner of routes, a routes salesman. He can pitch the DB a route. He's gonna be like, listen, I got a deal you cannot refuse, and he's gonna do something else. So I just think he needs the ball more. Defensively, they've played light boxes and trusted their defensive line and linebackers to simply make plays in the run game. It kind of doesn't work that way against Derrick Henry. So that's kind of what I think got him beat. And then, of course, Lamar Jackson continuing to do MVP, best in the world type of things. And, yeah, the Eagles and Ravens are on a complete crash course heading into each other. Barkley and Hurts versus Henry and Jackson. That's going to be a great one. That's going to be a really good one. But if we have nothing else from this game, we can get into our AFC tier rankings. And the way this is basically going to work is we have 4 tiers here. Now, they're not going to be all evenly split, but we have our Super Bowl favorites, the absolute cream of the crop of the AFC. we have our contenders, who's like a step below, would like to see one more thing out of that team before putting him in that upper echelon. But you could argue maybe they are that upper echelon. You have could play spoiler. So we're talking teams that are in the wild card race. Could maybe sneak in at their healthiest, could really be a problem for those 2 through 4 seeds or the 2 and 3 seeds. And then we have Travis Hunter, which is you're competing for the number 1 overall pick. So we can start off with the top because that is, of course, the correct things to go about it. Now, I have a list that I'm going to dish to you guys. And then if a team doesn't belong there, we can discuss it. We want to come to a unanimous vote on every team. Now, again, this is beginning with my list, but we are open to changes. In Super Bowl favorites, I only have 2 teams, and I'm willing to argue a third. I have Kansas City and Buffalo as those 2 top teams. Pretty self-explanatory. Kansas City, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, 9-1. You know, whether they have looked the part, we're getting to the point where it's like Brady's Patriots. It's like they don't have to look the part until it matters. And then Buffalo. Now, Buffalo's the weird one because they've beat the Chiefs. Their record is amazing. Their resume looks great. But there's a team sitting in the tier below them that absolutely destroyed them. But I have to come to a point where do I respect the head-to-head or do I have to respect basically everything outside of that they did? And that team is the Baltimore Ravens. Do we have anyone that would like to argue them that they should be in that Super Bowl favorite conversation? Because it's definitely a conversation we could have.
I would.
Go ahead.
And not even trying to be a homer, but I think record aside, but I know record aside sounds crazy when you compare something like this. I don't think the Ravens or another team that I know we're going to get to in a second is that far away from the Bills. So I'd say the Ravens are a Super Bowl team on the fact of being able to run the ball. So when it gets cold and when it matters the most, that's what's going to usually carry teams in the playoffs, unless you're Patrick Mahomes most of the time or Joe Burrow. And I think that's one thing that can help with a defense that's not as good stopping the pass, I would say. So I think if it's anything I would swap them with the Bills and put the Bills in the tier under, just because I think just having Henry and Lamar when it matters, like game time, and now you have to call the plays, you have to do things right. But I'm saying having that personnel in the end of the season when the games matter the most, I think is what would make me jump them, because I like the Bills' weapons. I like that, but I think just that right there, 'cause I think Allen is one of those pieces to where end of the year he's a person you can just have the ball in his. But I think just 1 and 2, I'll just take the team with 2. That's my plain look at it.
Yeah, and head-to-head can get really funky because Bills beat the Chiefs and the Ravens beat the Bills and the Steelers beat the Ravens. So all the head-to-head stuff is funky. I think I can get down with putting Baltimore in the favorites. I probably wouldn't bump down Buffalo though, because Buffalo has the win against the sole win against Kansas City, and they've just been really dominant in a lot of their wins. And like you said, Josh Allen is the type of guy where it's almost it is Cam Newton-esque, where it's just like, we got to win the game, ball's in your hand, you're either throwing or running, figure it out. And he's done that for the most part. And you can do the same thing with Lamar Jackson.
Josh Allen has an issue, though. When he plays bad, the team will lose.
That is true. That is very true. He kind of goes with the ship. Now, luckily, though,
reliant on him. Like, the Bills are Josh Allen. Whereas the Ravens, the only thing I'll argue for the Ravens is if Lamar has a stinker or he plays an average game, they can still win. They have weapons.
Yeah, not really, though. They're what Lamar's one stinker this year they lost. He can't play bad.
He can't play horrible, but he can play okay.
He can play okay. Josh Allen has played okay a lot of times this year, and they won the game because they can run the ball and they have a very sufficient defense. So that's why I have them as fair, because it's offensively, yeah, it is Josh Allen for the most part, but the defense is still really good. They have a respectable run game. James Cook really cooked up late in the season last year. I expect the same thing coming down the stretch where they're going to, probably feed him a little more, take some of the pressure off Allen, and then by the time we hit the playoffs, we got a sustainable run game to go along with one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah.
I'm willing to move Baltimore up. I'll keep Buffalo there. So we have 3 favorites, which is a little much, but I think it's deserved. Now the other 2 teams had Super Bowl contenders. I'm kind of stand pat on them as contenders just because these 2 teams are a little more flawed than that top 3. The resume kind of looks the same. Records look the same. They are a little different, and they're the Steelers and Chargers. Similarly built teams, really good defenses. Offenses, I want to give the Steelers their credit as of late. They have been putting up points. They've been putting up yards. Russell Wilson has looked great. Same thing with the Chargers. As of late, Herbert putting up the numbers. They're getting the points on offense. Obviously, Monday night aside. Do you guys think like Super Bowl contenders or dark horse Super Bowl contenders are valid for Pittsburgh and Los Angeles?
I mean, it's completely fine. I think Pittsburgh could even be bumped down a notch.
Wow.
I think
I
okay.
don't know. I don't know.
I don't think I would bump down the Steelers.
Not yet.
I don't think I would bump down.
3 weeks from now, you'll be saying the same. You'll be saying it.
If they're competitive in their next 3 games, though, like I'm not gonna kill them for it.
Am I crazy for saying I trust the Steelers more than I trust the Bills? Is that crazy?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Team wise.
I think it's a little bit crazy because the Bills have a consistent offensive engine in Josh Allen. While they're both insanely well coached teams in McDermott and Tomlin.
I'd argue Russ brings consistency to the Steelers.
He brings y'all consistency. Josh Allen brings he brings high level football at a more consistent rate.
I agree with that.
So it's like Russ gives you an identity that I think the Steelers were lacking earlier in the year, and then the Bills are just Josh Allen. They're the Buffalo Allens.
Yeah, and I guess part of me is like, yeah, the Steelers could be bumped down a bit, but the other part of me says they could be Super Bowl contenders, and the reason I say this is that they have the elite run game at times with Najee Harris and Jalen Warren. They can milk the clock out in the playoffs and play hard-nosed defense and keep the ball out of Mahomes or Allen or the Jackson's hands. And that's what you see them do. They create turnovers. They make these quarterbacks not have the ball that much, and they just run the ball and they run play action. They should take deep shots down the field to Pickens. It's been Pittsburgh it's been their go-to formula for the last how many years? 20 now with Big Ben, and it works. They just milk the clock out, take shots, and play their game. And Tomlin's been taken over, and so part of me is yeah, they could be Super Bowl contenders for that reason. I just see a team that doesn't have a great boundary corner outside of Joey Porter, a team that lacks a second wide receiver, a team that it just feels like they're flawed. But sometimes you see football teams like that make a run. It's like in sports, sometimes you see those teams where all the veterans get together and you're like, wow, I can't believe the veterans strung together and made a run for one last time. It just happens sometimes. I mean, that's why I think veteran presence, it could happen. What they do need is for the young guy George Pickens to actually play football. If he's done playing football and he's focused 100% catching the football, story will change.
Yeah, I would say, the Steelers are flawed. No doubt about it. The Chargers are also flawed. But the reason why I can trust them as Super Bowl contenders is for a couple of reasons. Like you said, Steelers have an elite run game, a good game-managing quarterback, an elite defense. However you want to harp on the boundary corner thing, they have T.J. Watt, they have Joey Porter Jr., they have, some guys at linebacker and in the secondary that, that boundary corner thing just not a big deal when you have Alex Highsmith, Herbig, and Watt coming at the quarterback all the time, and then you have your bevy of linebackers rotating and locking up that middle part of the field. With Los Angeles, they have a top 4 quarterback, top 5 quarterback, an excellent run game, a wide receiver that I truly trust. Now, where they lack is the wide receiver too. So that's their flaw. Defensively, I think they're fine. They're a really good defense. But if they decide they don't want to load that box again, if they don't want to bring Derwin James down, they are going to get baked alive by teams that can run the hell out of the ball. But that's what makes them contenders and not favorites, is that they're flawed. But there is a world with the way that they play football that I think they can still be a contender. So I'm going to keep those 2 teams there. Now I have 5 teams here in the could play spoiler. And y'all can let me know if y'all want to move this team up or you want to move them down to Travis Hunter land, or you just want to keep them where they are. I have Houston, Miami, Denver, Cincinnati, Indianapolis in could play spoiler if and when they get into the playoffs.
I will move Indiana down.
You would move Indianapolis down? Okay.
Yep.
I could see that. It's almost like too little too late.
Yeah, I think it's too late for them
make
to
this
get
run.
enough juice. Yeah.
The reason I like them there, though, is they're still technically in the wild card race. Will they make the playoffs? Most likely not. But they're in the race, and I want to respect them for that. And they just play everybody hard. Like that 16-point loss or 17-point loss to the Lions played them hard the entire way. And I think Anthony Richardson, with hopefully a couple more weeks, maybe some more reps. Maybe this doesn't even have to do with the playoff picture. It could be late in the season, and they're playing somebody who's looking to win the division, or they're playing somebody who's looking to get, a higher seeding or jump somebody in the playoff race. Indianapolis could just be a team that is getting better each week defensively, especially on the defensive line. And then offensively, you have a quarterback who's only going to figure more out about the sport. I guess I have to swing it to Danny on this because Chris wants to move them down. I think they're stamped where they are. What do you think about Indianapolis? Are they more Travis Hunter land, or do you think they could play spoiler in January?
I think they're just a spoiler in December, not January.
Well, January has 2 regular season games. So
yeah,
that's why
I think they're playing spoiler in late December, early January for sure. They have talent. They beat teams that they're competitive in games. I like their room, honestly. I just think that sometimes they're outmatched. And who is the other teams in this
We have Houston, Miami, Denver, and Cincinnati to go along with the Colts.
Yeah, I think Cincinnati needs to get out of this group.
I'm not budging. They play everyone as hard as they can. You can't rest on Cincinnati.
They should be praying they're in Travis Hunter land.
They won't. You will never find this team in Travis Hunter land as long as you have Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. They're going to try to win every football game that they can, and they have the offensive juice that they could just win shootouts the rest of the way. Not likely, obviously, because you'd have to be like a historic offense, which maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But
their offense looks awesome, but their defense looks god awful.
I know that. Hence why they're just playing spoiler and not contenders. Because if their defense was good, they're probably like favorites.
They figured something out the last game they played. Still lost.
Well, defensively, that was just the Chargers being the Chargers. But I really don't want to move them down. So we're kind of 2-1 on the Colts thing. So they'll stay. But Chris, what do you think about Cincinnati? Are they going to be playing spoiler, maybe ruining some seasons down the stretch, maybe running the table, getting into the playoffs?
I think they're more on their ruin some seasons down the stretch type of thing where they get some wins because they're just – that offense is just hard to stop. And just if they catch a team on a day their defense just doesn't have it, they're going to be able to beat them. And I think that's kind of what I see them as. I wish, kind of like what Danny was saying, I wish they were in Travis Hunter land because that would help with some things that we can just see coming with probably losing T. Higgins and having to pay Jamar Chase. But I think they're more so going to be on the side of just like kind of hurting some teams' season, getting some W's on some teams later. And maybe running the table seems like a lot, but I think they'll get a couple wins that'll hurt some seasons for someone else.
Imagine losing Jamar Chase and T. Higgins in the same year because they don't have money.
Sell the franchise. So, like, I know you probably, like, the owner probably loves his Bengals, but, like, bro, please get your money up. Like, come on. Got to get your money up.
The owner's the original owner. It's the original owner's son.
Sell the team.
Sell the team, buddy.
Sell the team. My man, Burrow needs weapons. So we're all good on Houston, Miami, Denver playing spoiler. Any arguments for any of those teams being Super Bowl contenders? Even dark horse contenders?
I think Miami could be a dark horse contender after running the table.
Okay, talk me through that one because that was actually I wasn't looking at Houston. I was looking at Miami.
Yeah, I think Houston's kind of banged up this year. I would love them to get healthy, but it's unfortunate. The string of events they've had, defensively banged up, defense not coming out as hot as you can, and Diggs going down does not help. But on the terms of Miami, they've won 3 straight without Tyreek Hill playing crazy, without him being an X factor. They are like an offensive weapon and at all stages. And I think McDaniel is an elite play caller. Last year, they went to a playoff game. They lost to the Chiefs in negative 20-degree weather. What is it?
Yeah, something like that.
Like it was super cold. I'm not going to blame the cold for their loss, but like obviously it's not ideal for anyone to be playing when it's negative 20 out. Like I didn't know that was possible in the United States, to be honest. So I think the Dolphins, when healthy, prove that Tua is like a point guard in basketball. He's going to distribute the ball to all of his weapons. Jonnu Smith. They could have a potentially elite run game. Mostert and HN and Jalen Wright's even good.
Yeah. And
offensively, they just have so many weapons. And then defensively, you have edge pressure. You got star power in the secondary with Holland and Ramsey. You look around and you're like, the more you look at the team, you're like, really? Could they?
Yeah, and one thing I wanted to, so they sit at 5-6 right now. They are the 8th seed, so they're the first team out of the playoffs. Now their schedule isn't easy. They obviously have Packers on Thanksgiving. They follow that up with the Jets at home, Texans on the road, Niners at home, Browns on the road, Jets on the road to finish the year. Now, this is a good balance. Like you have the Packers. It's going to be a tough game. Any division game is going to be a tough one. So Jets are going to be a hard one. Texans probably going to be, fighting for their identity at this point. Like, how do we want to enter the playoffs? That could be another tough one. Niners will always be a tough outing, regardless of injuries. And then you get Browns, Jets. I think how they perform in this stretch will essentially determine if they belong in this tier. And I think they're going to perform so well in this stretch, I'm actually willing to argue Super Bowl contenders for Miami.
Call me crazy. They could beat the Packers by multiple touchdowns.
They could. I'm going to be honest. I don't think they'll win this game. But I think the rest of their schedule, I think they truly got it. Chris, what do you think about the idea of a healthy Miami Dolphins team? Could they flirt with the Steelers and the Chargers of the AFC?
Nope.
Okay.
I have no faith in the Dolphins. And the only reason why I just think it's kind of no faith is crazy. That's a little far. I just think it's a little too late too little too late for them to kind of get it rolling against those two, especially against teams like those two that you named that been kind of slowly building it together all season and kind of at the point where they're rolling now. I think it's at the point in the season where they know that those games are ones they can't drop because of how brutal it is in the AFC. So I think had it been different timing, or the Steelers and Chargers hadn't been as cohesive, or if they weren't coming off losses, like the just scenarios that are coming up, I think maybe, but I don't think so. I don't think that they're good enough to overpower that.
Okay, and that's a fair point of view. Too little, too late. I do just want to say, in their last two games, put up 34 points in each of those games. One against the Raiders, one against the Patriots, whatever. They gave 27 to the Cardinals. They gave 27 to the Bills, both in losses, unfortunately. And Tua's just looked really, really good since he's gotten back. This is probably more of his 2022, 2023 type self, where he's very quick with his decisions, throwing with anticipation. We can keep them in could play spoiler, but they are certainly the first contender to get bumped up. And definitely, I think they're definitely ahead of Houston in line to start flirting with the Chargers and the Steelers realm of teams. I also do want to give shout out to Denver. I think they would be second in line, actually. I trust their defense a lot more than Houston's. I think their offensive line has done a tremendous job protecting Bo Nix, and Bo Nix has been playing great football over the past 2 months. I believe now 16 touchdowns to 2 picks over his last 2 months of football, looking like the offensive rookie of the year behind Brock Bowers. So I would say if we had to rank this tier, I would go Miami, Denver, Houston, Cincinnati, Indianapolis.
I'm with that.
And then next we have Travis Hunterland. I guess the only thing you would debate here is could they ruin somebody's season? But they're not necessarily in the playoff race, just some guys having fun. We have Browns, Jets, Titans, Patriots, Jacksonville, and the Raiders. So we got a lot of teams in Travis Hunterland.
Yeah.
Just to get the clear ones. Okay, clear ones out the way, we are not arguing for, but I did want to shed some light. Vegas absolutely not arguing them to move. Bad football team, bad quarterback situation. Shador, get ready to learn the casinos, buddy. Jacksonville, you have your franchise guy. Just this year did not go how you thought it was, but when you get that new coach next year, when you get Kyle Shanahan, when the Niners do a stupid thing, it'll be okay.
He's not getting
New
fired,
England.
Dude.
New England definitely has their franchise quarterback. Drake May is such a baller, a classic not his fault game this past weekend. But the weapons aren't there for him just yet. The defense is working things out. They can play really good 1 week, and then they meet an elite offense to get their face stomped in. The Titans' defense has been really good. Do they have their franchise guy? I think the jury is definitely still out. The jury is still out to see if he can survive this weak quarterback class, which I think he could. Because outside of Ward and Sanders, I'm not really happy.
Milrose to the Steelers.
Milroe will be the ultimate, the project guy of the draft, where he might jump to third amongst quarterbacks. He will jump ahead of Beck and Ewers on some Anthony Richardson, Malik Willis type things, which I wouldn't be mad at, and I'd probably do the same thing because he has all the tools. It's just a matter of him developing a brain.
Steelers are going to wind up drafting Quinn Ewers.
Dude, my heart would shatter for you. I'm not even kidding. I'd be so heartbroken for you, dude, if you're drafting Quinn Ewers. I don't like him at all.
Archie Manning on the way.
Yeah, that's what everybody's playing for. So, yeah, again, those 4 teams, I'm not considering moving. The 2 teams that I'm willing to entertain are the Browns, because Jameis Winston, it just clearly has his offense moving, and Cleveland is just so much more likable when it's just not that other guy. And you have the Jets. I'm talking strictly on talent. Nothing they've done on the field makes me want to move them up. So I'm not going to.
Dude,
But I didn't know if
Rodgers,
y'all wanted to. I didn't know if y'all wanted to flirt with the idea that their talent might be able to do it with Rodgers and Wilson and Adams and Brees Hall.
I'm on that side. I'm on that side only because I don't think it's going to happen, but I think it's possible just because when you got name soup and they're not all trash, even though they've been playing trash, I think you have a chance to win. So I don't want to say no just on a team that's as talented on paper. I think they can have a chance to win some games, a couple games, I'd say.
And it's like their offense is finally picking up the steam we've been looking for. Their defense is horrible. Robert Saleh, and this is a good group of guys. These are good players, but they're not well prepared. This is clearly a coaching thing. When Sauce Gardner has a highlight put on his head every single week, we're talking about a coaching thing because they're manning up a lot more than they used to. And while Gardner is amazing in man coverage, he's a lot better in zone, just like most corners are. It's just clearly like the coaching is not up to par than what it was with Saleh. And it's just they could have had it all. They could have had Saleh prepping this defense, and they could have had Rodgers getting things going on offense. And we're probably looking at a 6-7 win ball club right now who's figured it out. But they don't because they're rocking with an interim. And then the GM just got fired. And then Rodgers is talking about, I ain't even going to be here next year on some Magic Johnson. Just ruined everything and said, I ain't going to be here. It's ridiculous.
He said, y'all have fun with that one. I'm out.
But yeah, basically ruined everything and left. Like that. That's got a really good head coach fired, got a questionable GM fired. But still, it's like you're gonna get the two most important pieces in the building out of here and just leave. Like
maybe it's
I guess he helped them. I guess he helped them get right back into a flat rebuild. But it's like, dude, come on.
He helped them plan to fire their owner.
Interesting. Yeah. Overthrow the team.
I want to say a couple months ago, I said Shador to Dallas, Dak to New York. And the only reason why I said that is because if this happens, Aaron Rodgers wants to go play on Pluto somewhere, cool, let him go.
Minnesota.
Dallas, anything. Dallas needs to start over.
Nobody should want him on their football team. But anyway,
Dallas needs to start
Titans would.
Dallas needs to start over. Shador can go to Dallas. Dak gets to go to the Jets, a team that's already put together that would literally be what they were before. Well, a little bit better than they were before. They were just missing a quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. Then you have Dak there. You already got Adams, who's older. You already got him under contract for, I think he's under contract again, or you would resign him, whatever the case may be.
I think for 2 more years, or at
2
least
years, right?
another year by the time Dak gets there. But.
Okay, cool. And then you tried it out. Then you go into the flat rebuild. You still have Wilson in his prime years, I would say. And then you still have Jermaine. You still have pieces that are still younger, but I think if you want to compete with making that move for Devontae Adams, not say you gave up crazy capital for it, I think that'd be a wide open thing to do. And I think that's what they should look to do. Those guys build chemistry and play well, and then see what happens in the offseason.
Yeah, I think Dak would be a big fan of Garrett Wilson's skill set. It's kind of CD-esque, I think, with a better jump ball aspect to his game, with a little less of the yak ability that CD brings to the table.
But to Danny's the question, does Micah Parsons leave Dallas?
You know where he's coming.
Harrisburg kid coming home.
You know he an Eagles fan.
Dude, I see him in Sixers jerseys every time I'm there. Like,
he loves the city, man. You know he does. You know he wants to come link with Saquon. But to my point, what you were saying, no, I don't think anyone should want Aaron Rodgers on their team next year. After, like, it's already been known he is such a piss poor character and leader. But now to see that he just entirely blew up the Jets organization single-handedly, basically, and has resulted in what, 4 wins? Like that's horrible. Like, nobody should want that on the team.
What do they say? Jets going to Jet?
I don't even want to say Jets going to Jet. Rodgers just literally went in there off hookah and destroyed the franchise.
Yo, Rodgers to the Browns would go hard.
Nah. I don't think anybody should want Aaron Rodgers on their team. It's
the
not
Browns
even
go out there and have fun.
I'd rather roll with Jameis. Or next year, hopefully, it's just like I could every single team in the league. I could argue why they should rather have their quarterback situated or Aaron Rodgers, rookie quarterback. Would rather start over with a rookie quarterback than him. They're not in a position to win now, and Aaron Rodgers would not fix that anyway. He's not good enough to back up how he acts.
I feel like the only position I really would want to see him in is in San Francisco. Like a little like finally he got there.
I'd rather have Purdy. Not only do I think
They
Purdy is better at this very moment, but Purdy doesn't talk out his ass.
Fair.
Purdy's not getting anyone fired. Purdy's the only reason this team is just normal right now. With all these different hurt pieces, he's just keeping the band together.
Did you think about how the zodiac signs between Aaron Rodgers and Nick Bosa might correlate though?
Yeah, but I don't think Rodgers can rush the passer. Practice vibes will be an all-time high. As I listen to a Joe Rogan podcast, but
chill, JRE.
But yeah, it's
Alex Jones.
Even the Raiders, just start fresh with a new quarterback. Like,
if Stafford were to retire, the Rams could be in play.
Don't get him anywhere near Puka Nacua. I will personally intervene.
Man, he gonna turn LA into New York.
No, if he managed to get Sean McVay fired, I would argue that Aaron Rodgers should not be in the Hall of Fame. That would be insane. But I do also believe he'd cook in that system. But I don't want to have to see any team even try to manage that horrible personality.
Aaron Rodgers is a backup for the Eagles.
Yes, we need that. Because he's kind of got a little Philly attitude to him, but he's kind of just got to tone it down and kind of put it more towards, like, I don't know, Wawa commercials. But not playing football for my team. No.
I didn't say what Philadelphia team.
Don't put him in that bullpen.
He playing for the Stars, man.
The Philly. You're talking about the UFL. And then with the Browns, you just see them literally do it with the Steelers. Like, they could mess up somebody's season, but no, that's a little far fetched. They mess up the Steelers season.
That's a defense. It's a division rival. That's like,
yeah.
More storylines going on there. But
yeah. So our final rankings are Super Bowl favorites are Kansas City, Buffalo, Baltimore. Super Bowl contenders are Steelers and Chargers, with Miami flirting and Denver flirting.
Potentially the Ravens leaking down depending on the rest of the
season. The Ravens, they
are a tweener. Ravens are a tweener.
They're a tweener between favorites and contenders. Miami and Denver are flirting with contenders, but we'll keep them in spoiler for now, along with Houston, Cincinnati, and Indianapolis. Or I think Danny voted on you. Did you vote on a down vote for the Colts?
Up vote.
We'll keep them in spoilers, and then Travis Hunter land, which is kind of stamped, is the Browns, Jets, Titans, Patriots, Jaguars, and Raiders. And with that being said, we can move on to our hots and locks. Just a quick update on how we did last week. I was wrong on my hot take. I had the Bears over the Vikings. They were oh so close, but I did get the lock with Bucks over Giants. Chris hit with his Titans over Texans, which is a great pick, probably pick of the week. Niners over Packers lock did not go through, but in his defense, Purdy did not play that game. Danny hit with his Cowboys over the Commanders, and then he also hit with his Broncos over the Raiders. So good week overall for Chris and Danny, I would say. Well, we got to move on to this week. Would anybody like to go first? Or I would say since Danny had the best week, since Danny had the best week, he could go first, or he can opt to just pass it to someone else if he chooses to do so.
Yeah, lock it in. The LA Rams are going to shellac the Saints at Sunday afternoon. They're going to absolutely destroy them. No Lattimore, no problem. The Rams are just going to say, okay, here you go, Puka. Here you go, Cooper. Here you go.
Okay.
I think pretty easily I think the Rams pretty easily get this game done. In a revenge game from that 2018 championship when Drew Brees
threw the pick in overtime.
Tommy Lee Lewis.
I have no clue.
The guy who got popped. I don't know. Whoever Nickel Robbie Coleman hit the guy.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then my hot take is going to be the Dolphins beat the Packers on Thanksgiving.
All right.
I think that the Packers are one of those teams that they're just they got a little bit of tomfoolery in them sometimes. They have so much fun, and sometimes it's just like Jordan Love against a team full of stars. That's seems like they're getting things together. It feels like they're a game that Packers could drop.
Yeah, we could definitely see it happen. Chris, would you like to go next, or do you? Well, you go next. You had a better week than I did, so
barely. I had a handicap because I didn't know that Brian Purdy wasn't playing. But okay, I am going to lock Dolphins over Packers.
Okay.
And my hot is steaming hot. The Bears gonna beat the Lions.
Okay. I'm with that, man. I like the Bears are just always a great pick for a hot. They play everybody extremely tough. So they're probably going to lose in the most heartbreaking fashion you've ever seen in your life this Thanksgiving. But
that's what I'm planning. I'm planning on them losing in heartbreaking fashion or finally getting a win in heartbreaking fashion for another team.
Yeah,
it's about time.
And then we are so back.
Eagles 1 seed on the way.
I told you guys I'd take a break from the Panthers last week for the hot take, and we're right back in town. I'm going to pick the Panthers as my hot take once again. With Bryce playing the best football of his career, he's truly figured it out now. And then for my lock, I'm going to go with...
Yeah, everyone stayed away from Eagles-Ravens.
You'd be a fool to do anything with that game.
Clue. And I will not.
I'm gonna lock Kansas City over the Raiders. I know it's a division matchup, but it's in Kansas City. These two teams could not have looked any different this year. I'm going to go with Mahomes and company. So the final picks are the hot takes. I have the Panthers over the Bucks. Chris has the Bears over the Lions. Danny has the Dolphins over the Packers. For locks, I have Kansas City Chiefs beating the Raiders. Chris has the Finns beating the Packers. And then Danny has the Rams beating the Saints. And that is just about
everything. And I would say this 5-leg parlay is plus 6,725. So $10 pays out $670.
Might get on that. We might be playing it. We might not. But yeah, that's everything from us today. Again, I want to remind you guys, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you're listening on audio platforms, leave a like. Follow the show, 5-star review, download if you enjoyed it, comment if you can, all the type of stuff to move the algorithm. And again, of course, this is coming to you a day early again because of holiday and whatnot. So enjoy the holiday. Before we get out of here, I do have to ask, favorite Thanksgiving dish?
And is it dressing or stuffing?
I don't eat that shit.
I don't even need it. I don't
care.
Y'all ever heard of pineapple stuffing?
But I've heard both.
Yeah. Danny, what type of malarkey did you say over there?
Y'all ever heard of pineapple stuffing?
Oh, not even playing that game. That sounds dangerous.
Don't ask Danny what they put on the Thanksgiving table, bro. He be saying anything.
No. My top two is sweet potato casserole.
Okay.
And it's got to be all sweetened up.
That's a Cole household exclusive. What was the second one?
It's got to be all sweetened up with like all the sweets on top of it, like the onion nuts. That's just fire. Number two, this is my uncle makes this. It's deep fried Cajun turkey. Fantastic.
Okay. It's good to see someone putting at least some kind of turkey on, because he's supposed to be the main player, but he gets disrespected because he is such a good team around him. Yeah. But he's still such a good player, and he still is the best player on the team. Maybe not from a taste, but he is the star.
We're not even having turkey over here at all.
Man, turkey closer to Deion Waiters than it is to Damian Lillard.
We're not doing that. Turkey wins more than both of them. Turkey has the most playoff points since they have entered the the NBA. The most 25 10-5 playoff games since they entered the NBA. Most playoff wins.
But
If you haven't caught on, I'm literally describing Jason Tatum's career.
Man, Turkey is just Markelle Fultz.
You're not doing that, bro. That's just a lie. Like, it is a star. It is
my
a
favorite
star.
dishes are mac and cheese on Thanksgiving, mac and cheese, and I'm trying to think of another thing. My mom makes mastacholi on Thanksgiving too. So
What is that?
Mastacholi. It's a type of pasta. I can send it to y'all. It's elite though. It's like think spaghetti, but a little bit.
What Baker do?
Think spaghetti, but a little bit.
That was aggressive. That was almost racist. Okay, so I'm with Chris. My favorite dish is going to be mac and cheese, hands down. Now, another one I have, it's not necessarily a traditional Thanksgiving one. Like, not everybody has this, I guess, but my pops makes a really good, like, sausage, pepper, onions. That's a real good John. Just a whole tray of literally sausage, bell peppers, and onions with mozzarella all over it. It's fantastic.
That would
And then
be
for a dessert, okay. Now, all right, really last question. Best pie.
Apple.
Okay. My brother actually just made a homemade apple pie. It was really, really good. My brother's getting into baking, so
Apple pie.
The pie was really good. I think he should really indulge in like a cinnamon sugar though to go on top of it.
Yeah,
Now
I
we're
think
really
the
good.
apple one with but it has to be the strudel type where it's like over
Like the
under
late,
type.
yeah, that's what he
Yeah.
made. He made that handmade. It was great. Okay, so are you an apple guy too?
I like apple. I feel like pecan can hit too.
I knew you were gonna say pecan. I'm glad we have some diversity here.
You're probably pumpkin, bro.
I am a pumpkin guy. But okay, I haven't had a pecan pie in a while. I used to be a very picky eater, so maybe we'll run that back. But apple and pumpkin are certainly. Pumpkin's so good, man.
Kobe and MJ.
It's not messy. It's like you can throw some whipped cream on it, real simple. But yeah,
Kobe and MJ because LeBron is LeBron's cake.
Cake. But you're not having cake on like Thanksgiving, I guess.
That's what I'm saying. LeBron's reserved for.
Well, we get like this Hershey pie
other
thing,
holidays,
which is a real banger. But I've preferred like the pumpkin pie, the apple pie over like the Hershey cake pie.
It's Kobe and MJ, and then LeBron is just he's a cheesecake. He's his own category.
Oh, we're having that type of
LeBron is the leftovers for the next week because you know they're about to hit. You know that.
I encourage everyone of the LeBron fans to go buy a LeBron Christmas sweater or a Rizzler Christmas sweater, whatever one floats your boat.
Okay, true last thing. If you are a LeBron fan, run to Jimmy High Roller's channel. Just dropped an all-time LeBron Glaze video. You have to see it. He did the math on how long it would truly take for LeBron to become a flat-out bum in this league. We get pretty late. But from AP New Freezer, Culture by Migos, DC Comics. Thank you guys for tuning in. Have a very happy Thanksgiving, and we'll catch you guys on Monday.